Thank you for joining us for another episode of Finding Monster Right, the show about finding monsters.
Right?
Right. Today we travel deep into the woods. No, for the first time, we're burning the woods to the ground.
Hell yeah!
We're past forests, we're past fields, we are all into a metal, hardcore Mad Maxian landscape. As we look into the apocalypse. The post-apocalypse, I should say.
Right, yeah. I'm kind of... about at the intro, I feel like you're ramping up to saying, I'm Adam, and, like, we can do the bit.
You think you see, I've run out of... I cannot maintain that for some reason. It never happens. But soaring into this... blasted battlefield on the back of a steel dragon is myself, Adam.
And I've got a dragon on my back, because today it's a dragon attack. We're Doomsday prepping for a Draconic apocalypse. This topic might be a little strange, but this comes to us from the mind of one Adam Lemma, who apparently rides a steel dragon. I don't know if that's some kind of euphemism. I've frankly lost control of this man. But, you said during episode 1, back when we were so young and naive that we could go to the grocery store without wearing a mask legally still, that preparing for a zombie apocalypse makes as much sense as preparing for a dragon apocalypse, because they are both very fictional.
Correct.
And so I was like, that's an episode.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at... I think what's our official title here?
Dragon Attack, Draconic Doomsday Prepping.
Correct. So, yes, we're becoming preppers in a way for something equally fictitious.
Right.
It's regular preppers.
And a lot of this is inspired by the concept of... I really like dragons, in a way.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, they are a monster that I think is really underused, and two specific things crossed my mind when this idea did. One is the last good scene in Game of Thrones, and the other is the initial scene with the attack from the Kuroma Conclave in Critical Role, where they're in a city and just suddenly dragons. It's great. It's a lovely little story. It's very good. I highly recommend it if you have loads of time and love D&D. But
let's zoom in onto that second D there.
Yeah.
The dragons in every canon that I'm aware of come in a different size, shape. D&D does a good job of breaking out them into different basically colors, almost classes within themselves, personalities. What kind of are we going to be prepping for every one of these scenarios, or just going to be treating dragons as kind of a blanket, angry, flying lizard that shoots fire from their jaw?
Well, that's a good question, and there are many different kinds of dragons. And I have prepared not a segment, no. If I had to do Origin of Screamiest of Dragons, I would explode. But what I did find was I have been looking into some research for some kind of D&D thing, I said, with my sinuses suddenly acting up for no reason. But basically, any dragon with a breath weapon that isn't fire or maybe sometimes poison is a convention of modern fantasy and not anywhere in, like, the mythology or the legends or the what have you.
Right, it's like content from, say, Beowulf, and a lot of those early stories, even stuff that Tolkien built off of. It's just flat fire, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I was expecting ice dragons to be a real thing. It turns out they're not. Well, you know what I mean by real.
Yeah. So yeah, no bolts of lightning traveling out of anything other than like the sky, and different mythological characters is
Yeah. Yeah.
the case.
Also, we have the concept of Eastern versus Western dragons. West Coast, Best Coast. And I question exactly how much of a common ancestor these two dragons have. These two kinds of dragons. Are they descended from the same, concept? Or are they just different large reptilian creatures that we've decided to call dragons both times we've run into them?
Yeah, that we see these monstrosities, these amalgamations of parts of different animals. I think a lot of, not to go all Origin of the Screamies on this, but a lot of mythological creatures share that kind of Lego format.
Fuck it, this has been Origin of the Screamies.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah, and we're still doing it. We're still doing
yes.
it.
Yes, like a minotaur might be a bullhead, or a manticore is made of several parts. A dragon, in I think the Eastern sense, is has got snake features as well as those of a goat, and several other creatures that you at first you go, huh, but then when they put it all together and you zoom out a bit, you go, oh, okay, I get it.
And that's just physiologically.
Oh yes, personality-wise, that opens another kind of discussion of differences.
Right, Eastern dragons are semi-divine beings, more kind of like angels in a Western mythological sense, in a way. That seems like
avatars of a deity.
Yeah. That seems like maybe a bit of a reach on my part, but no. And Western dragons are often just like dumb monsters that come and eat your Andromedas and such. Although I actually did do a lot of, longtime listeners will remember, hey webheads, that I did a lot of studies of Slavic mythology in college because I figured that was the religion of my ancestors and I should probably know it. But the Zmei and the Zmei Goranich and all of them from Eastern Europe are actually also kind of, in the pre-Christian mythology, they are not often evil or satanic in the way that Western European dragons are. They are not always, they're sometimes villainous, other times a little more neutral. They're just like a creature you can bargain with. They do also pretty much always have multiple heads, which is interesting. That's kind of where we get the idea of a multi-headed dragon, is the Zmei.
Yeah, your hydras and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, okay. Some cultures, I guess, have some are religious, some are monsters, some are religious monsters.
Yeah.
And some, are kind of devils to be bargained with. Which, are we just gonna treat the kind of go rain of fire with this and treat them as a almost force of nature?
I think it makes more sense to go a little D&D with this and treat them as a force of dragon. I think they're just in it for themselves to, a ridiculous degree.
I suppose, but I guess it boils down to the question of, could you bargain with one of these dragons?
Okay.
Because if you can, or you can't, your entire apocalypse strategy could be altered. I mean, we can explore both situations, if you think that's a good idea.
Okay, yeah, so let's stick to Western dragons. You know what? I am struggling to think of an example in modern fiction of a dragon that doesn't talk or isn't intelligent. I'm thinking D&D, I'm thinking Aragon, I'm thinking Game of Thrones or Harry Potter. Those ones aren't, you can't talk to those. Okay, well, that's an example. But you know what? No. You know why? Because they have 2 legs and 2 wings, and that makes them wyverns, and this is not what that episode is about.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna pull that box out.
We're gonna pull that box out. Hey, here's an Origin of the Screamies. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, Take that, Smaug in the films.
Take that, film, Smaug. Your armor's like 10-fold shields, but your heart is that of a bitch. I don't know. I've lost control of everything.
So yes, I think we should first take a look at the monster dragon.
Yes.
And then talk a little bit more, almost like zombies versus like 28 Day Later zombies. Like first, let's deal with the I call it the Rain of Fire scenario, because it's like a resurgence of like these lost apex predators almost, but yeah, they fly, they're scaly, and they destroy everything.
Well, what is the plot of the movie Rain of Fire? Or did you just say it?
No, there's it starts with a modern day like construction site, and they accidentally like push aside the wrong wall, and it awakens a dragon that's inside.
You hate to see it, folks.
Yes, along with a bunch of eggs, and this creature that's been slumbering for so long returns to the world. All the eggs hatch, and dragons destroy the planet.
My parents were remodeling their kitchen, and a similar thing happened, and
you hate to see it, folks.
You hate to see it, folks, but that's the yardage. That's how it shakes out sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a part of living in suburban Pennsylvania.
It was this or vampires. We're Sylvania. We're flying pretty close to the sun. Pardon the expression.
Not the best analogy in the same sentence with vampires.
No.
But
no.
Yes, no. That's the gist of it. Then later on, Christian Bale and some other famous actor are like recounting Star Wars to a bunch of apocalypse kids.
That's hilarious. Like, oh, you fucking nerds! You think you're making a movie?
Yeah. So that's like I said, a force of nature. A little akin to, you remember Live, Die, Repeat?
Yeah. Well, isn't that about aliens?
Yes.
Are aliens nature, or is that a different episode? Should we not do that yet?
Oh, wow. We're... I
guess... They are green. Continue.
The dragons are treated with the same kind of way that as antagonists as the aliens are in that one. A little... not exactly understood, but they're the enemy, and beware because they're dangerous. Yes, dragons are shooting fire down on our landscape. How are we going to bunker up? Okay, so let's assume that it's just like we're just sitting at home one day, and then suddenly dragons. What's the day zero scenario for zombies? Well, it's like like an infectious disease that gets covered up. But then eventually let's talk about anything else. Yeah, right. Have you heard about D-War? I haven't. D-War, released in North America as Dragon Wars D-War, which is the dumbest is an English language South Korean action adventure fantasy film. Boy. You shared this with me a week ago. Yeah, I did. Or some time ago, yeah. But it's basically this Korean movie about starring a bunch of American and Western actors. I think it's just American. But it's basically an Eastern dragon apocalypse, which is different from what we're doing. And in that, there's kind of like there's like something to do with reincarnation and the medallion and that kind of magical stuff. They're also very serpentine in appearance. Yeah, or some of them are. There's a couple different kinds, but I think the main ones that you remember, the one that made the poster, are the serpentine ones. Correct. Which is a poster that does not agree with the Rotten Tomatoes rating. Is the Rotten Tomatoes rating really bad? It's in line with the IMDb rating and the Metacritic rating. And yes, they're all bad. Okay, good. And no, I see that poster and I think this movie's not going to do well on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like a snake fighting another snake on a building, and there's some tiny men. Well, no, the snakes are very big. The men are normal sized. I've changed my mind. you've seen the books on my shelf. Like this would be like on there with them. So maybe I've just got a thing for like kind of corny covers.
Dragon Wars, D War. Like, why do you need
The name twice?
why do you need D War to be on there? Like, you're trying to force a nickname?
Maybe they were intending to make a bunch of other D Wars in the series.
Oh, okay. Or like different, like Dragon Wars D War, and then the next one's like Dragon Wars E War, and it's about I was gonna say elephants, but it's funnier if the dragons have a computer, huh?
I was thinking like the next one's gonna be like Duck Wars with D War.
Life really is like a hurricane. All right, so we've got dragons bearing down on us as we're in the middle of like a stupid podcast, Garden Path.
Well, so yeah, I don't have a lot of prep stuff available myself.
I have a sword.
Yeah, I imagine Dragonfire is crazy hot, like beyond, like, melt steel, melt buildings, like easily the rubber in all cars for like a neighboring place. They're like a flying volcano.
I reckon I could take it.
I personally, I don't have that kind of faith in myself or my vehicle. So I was going to envision the kind of person that would be able to survive this scenario.
Well,
but I guess, sure, we can build off my current self.
Oh no, I 100%. I was thinking this was happening to me, personally. This was just my day.
Yeah, okay.
Of course this would happen. You know what? I'm going to put it now. November 2020, the apocalypse du jour is going to be dragons are back and they're mad.
Yeah, they... I really hope they're the kind that can speak.
Oh, yeah, no.
I want, like, the scene from To Serve Man, with a dragon arriving back on Earth and letting us know what we messed up with.
Well, okay, how is the dragon's wrath incurred? Because I'm thinking, probably someone steals a cup or some shit, right?
Yeah, or like, the dragon wakes up and their cup is like oil.
Mm. Well, no, it can't be the one dragon. That's not enough for an apocalypse.
Yes, you're correct. So several are back because one cup was stolen. That can't be right.
I mean, dragons are pretty crazy like that. What if? Okay, so a democratic socialist is elected president, and they institute a heavy tax on the uppermost bracket of citizens, and it turns out the top 0.001% of the top 1% are dragons. Like actual dragons that sit on hordes and hordes of gold that make Jeff Bezos look like me.
Yeah, no, they put they feel around to all the foreign accounts and stuff like that, and they have discovered that the true crime is a dragon. So any dragons on American soil are going to be taxed out of a large percentage of their trillions.
In hindsight, we should have checked out that giant cave that looks like a skull overlooking a humble thatched roof village in the Virgin Islands.
That's but poor mistake on our parts.
That's on us.
But yes, the dragons, instead of their puppet organizations of dedicated humans that control the economy, when we finally defeated them and now have come for the dragons, their only move is to Thanos style do this themselves.
Yeah, they're just gonna come in and like rule over the ashes, kind of.
Yep. Just kind of say, you humans were fun to watch for a while.
I guess I'd be very susceptible to being persuaded by a dragon.
Yeah.
Like, you humans, you sicken me with your words and your thievery. Your corpses will be sweet in my belly.
Do you think the Cave of Wonders is a dragon?
Is that what the Cave of Wonders sounds like? I've only seen Aladdin once.
Like to a T.
Oh,
That's.
I didn't know I had a Cave of Wonders voice.
Yeah, you just have to ask about disturbing people's slumber.
Who disturbs my slumber? Who disturbs my slumber?
Yeah, no, exactly. Was that sound bites? Did you have that queued up?
Nope, definitely didn't.
So yes, no, that's the type of things that cause the dragons to attack. Which I think we might get wind about that, because if the dragon's gonna be is right above our heads at the start, like that's our first cue. I don't see a way of getting out of that.
No. Well, it depends. Like, I'm at my parents' house, on a cul-de-sac. Is my parents' house the most attractive to a dragon? I would say no, because we don't have a pool.
You think dragons are... I don't know if dragons care about pools.
I think that just helps the house stand out. Like, if I'm a dragon flying overhead and I'm randomly picking a naked ape's house to burn down, I'm gonna be like, eeny, meeny, miny, that one with the blue bit.
I suppose. I don't know how precise they're gonna be like that. I imagine it's just gonna be a flamethrower, whatever part they feel like.
I can't imagine they can hit the whole cul-de-sac at once. I think if the dragon is, like, house-sized, well, first off, you're not going to need more than one dragon to take out Gilbertsville. Like, I'll just throw that out there now.
Right. But I do want to say, we should outline the dragon's tactics, and then kind of reverse course, go back in time, and see what we can do to prep for such a scenario.
Right, okay. So, how many dragons are there? I think...
I don't... Alright, what?
Okay, okay.
Please, answer... What's prepper equipment do you think would change if there was, like, 1 dragon versus 100 dragons?
Okay, here's the thing. There's, like, 5,000 people in my small, quiet Pennsylvania suburb that my parents live in. How many people are there in the world? There are 7.8 billion. Well, I mean, I could have remembered that. At Google, I was hoping for a more exact answer, but okay. So, 7.8 billion divided by 5,000, that's how many dragons there are. Okay, 1,560,000 dragons is how many there are. So they're spread all over the world. They've unionized. They've decided they've had enough of our shit, and they want to rule the world now.
How did we miss that volume of dragons?
They were hiding.
They're big, and there's 1 million of them.
Adam, there are parts of the world that we don't know that much about because it's the woods there.
I'm gonna eyeball this and say that many dragons is larger than the Marianas Trench. Like that volume of dragons.
No, Adam. See, because nature and arrogance, and we have maps the moon more than the sea or something. Cryptid stuff. I'm using every cryptozoological argument in the book here. Like, Adam, here's how. You ever hear of a coelacanth? I thought not. Moving on.
So I think we're getting hung up on if the dragons are going to be a problem.
What I'm saying is...
Or how big of a problem they are. That's not the prepper motto. The prepper motto is like, alright, dragons are on the horizon. I know dragons are coming. How do I deal with that?
Okay. Well, if I'm on the... I would run down to the ground floor, probably. I think we're approaching this from the wrong angle. It's not about ground floors. It's about, hey, I'm a prepper. Let's, I have installed a freezer unit in my basements of my house, so that in the event of a dragon attack, my bunker is nice and chilly, which might be able to offset some of the rain of fire outside. Oh, okay. I was thinking like an earthquake kit.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like, that level of preparedness. But, like, if you're talking full, like, I've got a show on Discovery Channel where I talk about how stupid I am, then, like...
Yeah, it's Doomsday prepping is what I'm looking at. Because I appreciate your confidence but there's 1,000,000 dragons. There's 1,000,000 dragons. There's 3 dragons in Game of Thrones, and they changed everything.
Well, there's so many more people here than in Westeros times.
Even
and
so,
also, our show is way better written.
Right. I'm getting there. All right. I love the earthquake bag idea. What are some stuff that you'd fill it with?
Right. Let's talk about your thing. Let's talk about like doomsday prepping. Like, how would you build like an anti-dragon apocalypse castle or whatever? Mm-hmm. Probably the wrong structure to choose, actually. Right. And how would you, like, if you're just like Joe or Jane Q Doe, how do you survive, Thordak the Cinder King coming down on your dumb little suburb or city or what have you?
I like how John Doe and his significant other have Q as a middle name.
They're brother and sister.
Yeah. Regardless, okay. So
that's why they were named at the same time. They're fraternal twins.
Underground network of tunnels is my thought process. Because the surface world is no more. There is nothing. This is like double global warming happening up there. So
this is even more literal global warming.
Right.
This is visually apparent global warming.
Away from the coasts, far inlands, hopefully in some kind of mountainous region. But those small caves and and whatever we can make for ourselves, that's going to be our safest spot away from dragons.
A cave? A cave is the best place to hide from a dragon?
A small cave, like a mine shaft.
I feel like...
Mortals.
Just breathe right down that mine shaft, whole thing falls apart, everything dead.
The fire doesn't travel like water.
It goes pretty far. These things can destroy a house from the sky. I'm pretty sure their fire goes pretty far down your average mine shaft, and also I don't want to live in a mine shaft.
Okay, plan B.
Okay, well, the first thing is, apparently, unlike our zombie apocalypse plan, in the case of a dragon apocalypse, you and I cannot go to the same place, because we won't get along.
Yeah. So my plan B is underwater front. So this was something I explored in my environmental... I want to call it like a sustainability class I took in college, but our whole class was broken into sections, and we discussed the opportunities and what's the feasibility behind a structure almost like a space station but underwater.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with this project called the Ocean Voyager, I think, that I've been following for some time. That's been pretty slow going. It's been hard to get funding, but it's basically the ISS for the ocean. The Sea Orbiter, that's the one.
Yes, so something like that, where it's in like that one The Meg movie from a couple summers ago. I think they explored that concept. But yes, no, if we can get underneath the sea, slowly lowering yourself down by pressure, but yeah, having some kind of submersible, some kind of underwater safe haven, that seems like a pretty safe spot compared to where you're compared to surface and apparently caves too.
Well, submersibles have to come up for air once in a while.
Correct. You have to, and then we start to get into the whole how does this underwater thing work out?
Yeah,
and how that fiction, but that's a whole how to Atlantis episode, I guess.
Well, the other thing is a lot of birds and things can't fly long distances over the ocean.
Are you thinking that some kind of distant island might be a good call?
Oh, well, no, that's where dragons are. It says so on the map.
Oh, right.
I think, the ocean might be a very... I feel like dragons might have a hard time flying all the way over the ocean, and so, maybe going to the middle of the Atlantic or, Point Nemo in the Pacific or wherever might be a really good plan for avoiding them.
Yeah, it's probably easier to develop some kind of floating home than an underwater one.
Right, yeah, no, well, yeah, even that. Even, like, floating would be way easier.
Can you think of another safe spot to get to?
Another safe spot to get to.
Or is that going to be our like one to strive for?
Well, I do think that a dragon's fire breath could bring down a skyscraper. I know they can bring down a helicopter. I know that much is true.
Yes.
Obama told me so.
Right, and I doubt urban environments are going to be very friendly.
No.
Or
no.
habitable. I want to clear from them.
I should explain. The Smithsonian Channel put out a video on their YouTube page, and I guess this was a TV show of a dragon fighting a helicopter. And I was like, did taxpayer money go to this program? Because this is the dumbest fucking shit. And this was produced during the Obama administration, and it was the worst thing he's ever done, which that bar's been cleared.
Yeah, so they can take out a city, helicopter.
Helicopter,
no
go bye-bye. No.
You think any colder fronts might be a little better? Or is that just like, are they better equipped for that already?
I think they're better equipped for that. Because, like, yes, they're reptiles in that they're scaly and they might have, like, reptilian skeletal features and they might be descended from reptiles and all that sort of thing. But that doesn't mean that they're like lizards and they're cold-blooded. If anything, they're more warm-blooded than we are. They're producing so much body heat that they spit it out and use it to kill people and take gold. And I don't think lizards do that.
Do you think by that metric the equator will do us any better? Or are they just good in any environment?
I think they're just good anywhere. Well, actually, it might be harder to fly in certain conditions. I think like, well, think about how like cold your fingers get when it's cold outside. I think like the wings might be the real issue.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's any regions where it's just like hard to find stuff, and there's maybe like a lot of fog and mist, a lot of natural stuff that a dragon would struggle with. Like for example, what if we step in like a swamp?
Well, okay, for starters, I can any environment you can name, I can think of a D&D dragon that goes there.
Right. So my concept with swamps is that a lot of just mist, fog, and other environmental stuff. Real buggy. And you know, usually I'm picturing like a canopy of low trees and stuff like that. So you know, easy to hide in that kind of area. Plus the swamp gas, I think, would be a deterrent to any fiery attacks.
You say deterrent, I say accelerant.
Well, it's like it's uncontrollable.
I see. You think the dragon's going to employ caution?
I think that a dragon. Okay, it's the question of can a dragon be hurt by dragon fire?
You're saying like a dragon might get too close to a bubble of swamp gas coming up and breathe some fire on it, and it would explode in the dragon's face.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a dragon would be smart enough to not breathe fire on swamp gas because it would explode and hurt the dragon.
I don't know if... Well, for starters, I think if you just fly up high enough, you can breathe down, toast all the humans, and make some explosions happen without, like...
Again, the range that you put on this fire is very...
What do you think?
It's like miles long.
No, I think it's like maybe like I don't know, 1,000 feet. I would say is the range. I think that's fair for like a good-sized Draco.
I don't. Yeah. Again, we're lots of different dragons, lots of different incarnations. So yes, I suppose there could be one that can just wipe out a swamp. But even so, where do they know what? If we're hard to find in there, then you know they might be shooting the wrong place.
What is an alligator? What is an alligator? But a worse dragon.
Yeah,
You've played right into the dragon's plans, Adam.
I
Can't go into the swamps. There's swamp dragons that we call alligators.
yeah, that'd be the lesser evil in my book. Because they don't fly, they don't breathe fire.
Not yet. But maybe they'll get ideas if they see real dragons around.
Yeah, they're just like... They've had the evolutionary capability all this time.
They found, latent atavistic genes.
Why don't you tell our audience what that word means?
It's like a gene that is it's like a thing where like a snake will show up and it's like grown some back legs or something. It's like leftover genes that the organism doesn't use anymore, but once in a while they just pop up. They found genes in a crocodile that don't really work the way they used to anymore, but if you theoretically flip them on, you could grow a croc with feathers.
Ooh, yeah. So that's a weird... that's interesting.
But think about how fluffy they would be.
Yeah, they're... Again, I find it weird that I think of gators and they all look the exact same in my mind. Regardless of age or size or just time in history, they have the exact same look.
Yeah, that's how they do. Like, oh man. What I'm saying is maybe if they see dragons, they'll be like Go-Go Gadget feathers, and then they'll suddenly get fluffy and be able to fly, like Falcor, Never-Ending Story.
I just love that you follow up your evolutionary explanation with, yeah, you can just go gadget them on.
Yeah, no, that's how it does. That's how it does. That's how it does.
It took a millennia to get rid of, but, just kind of... Just, hurry!
And then suddenly they're just like...
I guess an ocean, some kind of...
So now your swamp gators now your swamp dragons are like proper dragons again. Now you've just made the problem worse with your swamp colony men.
Okay. The ocean's out in the middle of the ocean's the way to go. What's in our earthquake bag to get us from the suburbs to the sea?
It's an earthquake preparedness bag. Well, first off, door frames. I think that's a solid place still.
Yeah, just hiding between.
Yeah. Just brace yourself in a door frame. Works for earthquakes. Works for dragons. Same shit.
How about under a desk?
Under a desk, absolutely, unless you are hiding some kind of gold or something, and then they would be able to smell you.
That's true. Do you think they're really like nickeling and diming the population?
Absolutely. They're like Columbus when he came over. Like,
do they care about? Is it just gold or is it like bonds? Do they want it like my stock portfolio?
Okay, our currency isn't backed by anything.
Yes, so they're off to Fort Knox, or it's only to find out that there's a big empty hole in the ground.
They're gonna be even more mad. Oh my gosh, poor dragons. They are going to be after our coins and shit, though, and our jewelry and stuff.
I see. I imagine a society that living in a dragon apocalypse has to barter and stuff like that.
Like with other communities or with the dragon?
With the other communities. The dragon's more of a dragon slayer situation, if you recall that film we watched.
Oh, yeah.
They have a lottery of sorts, where, every, year or so, a young lady from the village is sacrificed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, perhaps there's that kind of bargaining thing between a apocalyptic society and the dragon.
Okay, so this brings me to another concept, and I've been thinking about it quite a bit. What is the stereotype in Dungeons & Dragons, the stereotypical kind of interaction that a player has with a dragon? What's the meme? What's the joke?
The joke is, oh, look at all this gold. I'm a dragon. Oh, man. 100,000 likes on Reddit. Just draw a shitty comic of that scene. There's no real joke, and it just looks cute. And then you get all the karma that you ever wanted.
Yeah, no, that's how Reddit works.
Mm-hmm.
They're children, they're easily entertained by cartoons and bright colors. But the joke I was thinking of specifically was the bard seducing the dragon. Like the bard asking, I seduced the dragon.
Well, you only need one roll of a 20. And let's find out what happens.
Yeah, well, it's a good example of, no, you can't roll for that. Like, the dragon's not interested.
That said,
That's
a fun game. I kind of wanna be the DM that lets that fly. You know?
I mean, I have been that DM, kind of, in a sense.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be I don't want my nasaliness to go up and say you can't do that, because I want to see a bard in the party try to form a relationship with this 100-ton scaly beast.
Well, most of them can turn into humanoids. Is that good part? But not all of them in 5th edition. That wasn't true in earlier editions, but
yeah, that's also a very D&D specific thing.
Right. Well, here's my thing. What if we could make it work in real life? Because I think I have that capability. I would seduce the dragon and become its second in command. Its right wing. Nope, can't use that. It's it's right hand go-between person.
So I think that there's a numbers game. There's all the people in the world. There's gonna be like the kobolds of people, right?
Right, the people that are like on the Independence Day roof saying like "Welcome ET,"
yes,
but for dragons.
Yeah, there's gonna be people that are like are DTD down to dragon.
Oh yeah, no, that's me. I will save us. Okay.
Absolutely.
Like some idiot with a maul sword is gonna run out there and try and kill the dragon and get toasted, and
honestly, in this film of ongoing dragon apocalypse, that's the interesting group. Who cares about the regular people? Like, I want to see the ones that have to go like revert their culture and take up like swords and call themselves like we are the shadows underneath her wings, and embrace the apocalypse. Basically, is what I'm saying.
I take it that's your role.
Oh,
you're going to be like busting into the dragon's lair, like slaying acolytes, and then you'll just find me just like in a bed, like dressed all in silk, ready to just.
No, my move is definitely prophet dragon. Dragon prophet, I should say.
Oh, okay, no.
Yeah, like that apocalyptic character where I just go out and, pledge the word and bring people into the fold.
Oh, my go-to apocalyptic role is going to be like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thunderdome, like that sort of thing. I imagined that as the dragon's pope and concubine, a concupope, I would be like going out in like some elaborate dragon themed like robes and just being like, the great Thordak demands sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. So I think a really good way of I don't know if you can be
one of my sub prophets, one of my people that works for me. You will be my right hand man.
I do not want to be the sub to the Popupine.
I said subordinate, not sub.
You said sub.
Okay. Wait, did I say sub?
Yeah, I think you said sub, yes.
That's unfortunate. That's not what I meant. You know that's not what I meant.
No, yes, a subordinate of sorts. My question is it better to get, like, when do you get in on the dragon cult? Is it, like, real? It can't be, like, first really early.
I see a shadow pass over it. Like, a turkey vulture flies over me, and I'm ready to go, okay? Like...
No, I mean more like...
I'm, like,
there's gonna be...
a bird flies too close to my head, and I'm just like, well, time to swear allegiance to Tiamat.
I guess, I don't know if the dragon's gonna be open for followers, like, in the first kind of show of strength.
I think, no, you know what? I think they will. I think they value gold and they value praise.
I think the angriness comes before the horniness, and I if we want to prove differently, that we have to interview a dragon.
Look, there's only one way to prove this, and we're just gonna have to see whose bet is safer. You're gonna be like out there with a sword trying to make it to the sea. And
Yep.
I will be out there trying to figure out how to pick up a creature many times my size.
There's a topic that I just remembered that I wanted to discuss this episode. And it was that I think the strength I might have in a dragon apocalypse is my elaborate fantasy knowledge. Because I've experienced many dragons in terms of other
Hopefully
people's
so
fiction,
will I. Continue.
in different forms of fiction and stuff like that. So discovering what the dragon's magic system is, and therefore their potential weaknesses, I think might be my strongest suits.
Okay, you know what? I have a role for you.
What's that?
Grand Vizier, trusted advisor.
Oh, of course, yes. I'll Jafar it up.
Hell yeah.
Oh, really?
Like a good
Just-
Jafar.
Oh, well, it's to study their weaknesses and stab them in the back, right?
Yeah,
That's why I'm the vizier.
but like it's a dragon and it's bad nominally.
Yeah, and I think I might be destined to fail that mission, but yes, my study them, keep my enemies close, and keep my giant fire-breathing enemy the closest.
Well, I mean, you won't know until you try. You might not be destined to fail. Me,
Yeah.
my plan works from the outset. I'm set. You have to work a little harder, and that's okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. All
Okay,
right.
well, that's our plan. And if that fails, then I will procure a number of goats that have been sacrificed to Great Thordak, and we will use that in barter and get a boat and sail out as quickly as possible to the sea. And we will meet up with Waterworlds and just kind of hang out there until we both die.
Not bad. So let's take this to the final rating place.
Mm-hmm.
And what rating would you give the Dragons of the Apocalypse as monsters?
I would give them a solid 6 out of 10.
It's a 2 out of 10 for me. Resistance forever.
No, you're a horrible vizier.
No,
Babe,
that's not what I said.
babe, eat him. He's done bad.
What? That's what they say in the streets about you, my liege.
Let him finish.
Okay, fine. You can go ahead. Continue. Sorry. I thought he was gonna be mad, but he's cool with it.
Yeah, he knows what's up. I think, you know what? Those are some novel plans. I think we're gonna beat the military on this one.
I think we are gonna beat the military on this one, especially because like they are gonna fall. They're gonna start. Well, the first thing they're gonna try is helicopters, and boy, that's not gonna go well.
It's proven false.
I can tell you that much. That's a scientific fact. I'm gonna real quick Google dragon helicopter so I can redirect people to this vid. There's a kind of helicopter called a dragon, of course. Fucking children that name this military stuff. Okay, Smithsonian. There you go. Apache versus dragon. Who would win on the Smithsonian Channel?
Wow.
Whatever, dude. Like, whose idea was this? Whose idea was this bonkers program?
All right, well, thank you for joining us in this foray into the future.
Mm-hmm. November 2020, mark your calendars.
Yep. I think 2 months after this episode airs.
Yep. Gonna happen.
So, yeah.
We gotta start recording Halloween episodes soon.
Ooh, spooky.
Very spoopy.
Can't wait for that. So join us next time when we look into some when we get a little spookier.
We get a little spookier and we go under the sea. We might not do an aquatic monster.
Or some a spooky monster.
No.
We just we usually shoot from the hip on these.
Honestly, you don't have to listen to these in order.
No, it's rarely prophetic.
I mean, this time it will be.
Oh, right. Great. Thank you for listening. See you later.
All right. Roar.